If you suffer with acid reflux and or GERD, that's gastroesophageal reflux disease, otherwise known as heartburn or indigestion, I have some foods that can help you. Acid reflux is a condition when acid seeps up from the stomach into the esophagus. We have different compartments when we digest our food. So when we digest our food, it goes in the mouth, then down that long tube, what we call the esophagus, then into the stomach region, then into the small intestine, the large intestine, and then out the rectum. Mouth. So those are our different compartments. Now we have what we call these ring-like structured sphincter muscles that kind of open and close, and they are triggered at certain times during the digestion process. However, we have above the stomach and the end of the esophagus, above the stomach, you have that ring-like structure, esophageal sphincter. And if it loosens up, some of that acid can slip back up into the esophagus. Now, you don't have a thick mucosal lining in the esophagus, so acid in the esophagus, and that's when we get that acid, it refluxed up into the esophagus, and we get that indigestion, or what we call heartburn. And you know how uncomfortable that is. Well, I want to say, disclaimer, I'm going to go over a number of foods that could help you with that condition, but always consult with your health practitioner before you start anything or include different foods into your diet. The best foods that you want to include in your diet. Now, the primary goal, if you have acid reflux, is to go on a low acid diet. Those two things in mind. Let's get going. So our first group is whole grains. That's oats, barley, brown rice. Then we go to fruits. We want non-citrus fruits. Now, those would include blueberries, apricots, papaya, avocados, peaches, watermelon, my favorite, bananas, pears, apples, and let's not forget mangoes. Plenty of fruits to choose from. So focus on those. Let's not think we're so deprived. Focus on the many fruits that you can still have. Now, vegetables. Potatoes, wonderful. Dark green leafy vegetables, and that spinach, kale, collards, those you can have. Cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, celery, cucumber, and green beans. Who doesn't like green beans? And for protein, you have tofu, beans, lentils, peas, nuts, and seeds. And the milk or products that will be derived from nuts or seeds. You know, a lot of your non-dairy milk that you buy in the store, you can get cashew milk now. You can get almond milk, is very popular. So those would be good choices as well. Poultry and fish. So those are some of the sources to provide protein for you that you can have that are lower in acid. Now, overall, you should bake, broil, or boil your foods. So we definitely want to decrease fried foods if you're trying to do something that could be more beneficial for you if you're suffering with acid reflux. You want to avoid high-fat foods. So those are just some general recommendations. Fat foods, that's a lot of butter, margarine, salad dressing, mayonnaise, sour cream, cream cheese. So you definitely want to look at that. When you're eating meats that don't have as much fat in them, or the fat is removed, looking at lean cuts of meat would be the better choice. You may have a weakened sphincter muscle if you have certain conditions. If you have multiple sclerosis, you may have a weak sphincter muscle in diabetes. And we would say, well, why diabetes? Well, diabetes is because you are suffering neuropathy. So if your diabetes is not well managed, you can damage some of your nerves. So if you're damaging your nerves in that structure, it can be loose, weak, and not function as well. Also, just the process of aging. you're going to get more issues with that. You know, some people complain, I've never had this issue before. I never had problems with any of these foods that you're telling me now, or that I've learned that I can no longer eat. An injury to those muscles, they could become damaged and not function as properly as before. So those are just some of the things that contribute to those muscles becoming weak. And these are some of the things that you can do. We want you to do these things because we don't want you to suffer those uncomfortable side effects of acid reflux.